Hi, everyone. My name is Allison. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the executive director of the Gallatin County Democrats. And over here is Phoenix, who will probably be in and out of the video. She has a mind of her own. But I'm also joined by two amazing representatives, our senators from Gallatin County, Senator JP Pomnichowski and Senator-elect Chris Pope. So Senator Pomnichowski, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Allison, thanks for the invite. It's lovely to be here with Senator-elect Pope. I'm JP Pomnichowski. I've served in the Montana Legislature since 2007. I had 3 sessions in the Montana House of Representatives, and since 2015 have served in the Montana State Senate. I'm a member of the leadership team for the Democratic minority. I am a Democratic minority whip, which means I am in service to my fellow caucus members, my fellow Democratic senators. And it's also a lot of coordination for the caucus. I represent Senate District 33 in Bozeman, which is the fastest growing micropolitan area in the nation. It is bounded by Rouse on the east side and goes almost to Jackrabbit Lane, nearly to Jackrabbit on the west. And then from just short of Main Street, a few blocks south of Main, all the way to the interstate. So all of the new growth, the new high school, the new middle schools, elementary, a lot of new housing, a lot of new business, a lot of new roads and bridges. It's all in my district. So it's a great district. I'm a 5th generation Montanan, born and raised in Great Falls. I've been in Bozeman for about, well, a while. Proud graduate of Montana State University and a proud product of Montana Public Schools.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're so grateful to have you in the leadership and all of your experience that you bring back to Gallatin, but also to the state. Senator-elect Pope.
Thank you, Allison. My name is Chris Pope. I'm currently a representative in House District 65, which is half of the territory that my colleague JP just mentioned. And I'm moving to Senate District 31, which is East Bozeman, stretching all the way from Sipes Canyon, just about, all the way down to Cottonwood and Leverage and Highlight Canyons, and to the Park City county line. So it's also a pretty big territory, 20,000 folks, probably a little bit more at this point, because I think that one of the big themes of serving in Bozeman is that we are the fastest growing community in the West, and certainly maybe even in the United States at this point. And it sure feels that way. But it's terrific to be here. I have to say you've got a good spectrum here, because I'm once more a rookie, which I enjoy being able to be a rookie from time to time, and I'm the rank and file. So when JP needs to whip people going, get them going, I'm one of the people that she calls. And very happy to do that stuff. So I'm very excited, and I think there is a couple of changes that I'm anticipating here for myself, and also for the experience of being in public office, and I'll look forward to talking about that today.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining me today and chatting about what's coming up in the Montana Legislature starting on January 4th. So it's about a month away now, actually, as we're officially about a month away. So I know that you have had your caucus meetings, and you've now also been assigned committees. So JP, could you talk a little bit about how that committee assignment process works, and then what the committees are briefly, and then where you and Chris and the rest of our Pat Flowers, Senator Pat Flowers is also from Gallatin. So what he is on, if you can remember all of that.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Committee assignments are complete. And in the Montana Legislature, for the House of Representatives and for the Senate, the majority party appoints all committee chairs, all committee members. Members of the minority submit at the caucuses a committee preference form. And we typically, especially members of leadership, we do our level best to match our members' experience, talent, professional expertise into the coordinating or the appropriate committee. The learning curve is steep with a lot of this policy work. And so if someone is already, let's say, an elementary school teacher, then we would dearly love for that person to serve on the education committee because they just know the context, they know the landscape, they know a lot of the policy issues. That is not to say that everyone is appointed to where they best fit, which is also a tactic of the majority in some cases, not to put someone who's quite knowledgeable onto a committee. But the majority seats all seats. Members fill out a committee preference form, and leadership also takes into account their experience as I described. But then once committees are assigned, that is where almost all of the work of the legislature is done. All of the work is done in committee. Every bill, and a bill is an idea for a law, it's just an idea. Every bill is assigned to a committee and gets a hearing. And that is really where people come and testify in support or in opposition to an idea. We have informational witnesses who do that. So everyone on the committee, and honestly, even if that is not your forte at first, you get up to speed in a quick hurry because that's just what you're going to be talking about for the entire session. We have 3 different classes of committees. The big committees, the heavy hitters, the ones that do a lot of the really in-depth big policy decisions are the Class A committees, which meet every weekday, 8 a.m. till noon. And they are things like the Judiciary Committee. So think of everything that might be considered by a court or might be a human right. Things like capital punishment, abortion. That's just 2 of the issues that go to the Judiciary Committee. Criminal justice reform, all of that goes to Judiciary. Chris has served on Business and Labor. I have served on the Taxation Committee. And those are and then Finance and Claims in the Senate and Appropriations in the House are Class A committees. They talk about the state budget. Pat Flowers on the Senate side, our Senator Pat Flowers has been assigned to Finance and Claims for his morning committees, in which he has served before. And so that is a really good continuum. We like to have some continuity that gives some institutional knowledge so that bills that may have come before or ideas that need to be, that need to permeate on or continue on, people know about those and we know how the policies and programs work. So that's largely the structure of the committees in the House and Senate.
Awesome, thank you. That's really helpful. So what committee are you serving on, JP?
My morning committee is taxation and always has been. And so think of that as also revenue. Okay. The way the state gets revenue in a small part is by things like natural resources, royalties, but more than half of the budget is personal income tax and commercial or business income tax. And so taxation and tax policy and tax fairness are what we work really hard to accomplish in the Taxation Committee. Think of that as the revenue raiser. And then down the hallway, the Finance and Claims and Appropriations Committees are spending the money that the tax policy raises.
Got it. That makes sense. Chris, what about you? What committee are you on?
I'll be on the Business and Labor Committee as my main Class A committee, and then I'm on local government, and then what I used to call FRET, which is Federal Relations, Energy, and Telecom. It has a different name now, but it's an energy committee basically, and those are committees being brought over for me from the House side. So I've been, in this since 2015 with one break. I got a break in the middle of that. And I am feeling pretty grounded in that regard. There, the Senate is 50 persons.
Mhm.
So we have a smaller body where the House is 100.
Right.
And so in some ways, these are more intimate committees. I think in some regards, I haven't had the first person experience yet, but I think this is going to allow quite a much more of an intimate sort of exchange and getting to know your committee members better, hopefully, and maybe with a better opportunity for exchange and for sharing of ideas. I tend to be a little Pollyannish when it comes to public service, and we can always do better. Kind of is the start. And so I'm hoping for the business and labor in particular is about an awful lot of aspects about insurance and about the licensing, which regulates healthcare and alcohol. All of our alcohol policies are driven by business and labor, which are, we have to be careful about public safety, but we also have to grow our economy. And so that's a comfort for me. And then energy, I'll speak to that in a little while as well.
Absolutely. I hope so. So what are some differences since you're transitioning chambers this time around? Like, what are some other, like you're carrying over experience from your House committees to your Senate committees, but what are some differences that you can also speak to about what you expect this session?
Well, I think there's an aesthetic difference. I mean, just in the size, but also the sense of there are the rules of the Senators are different. I mean, you can spend years in the House and not know the Senate terribly well, or vice versa. And that's in fact, I think, a pretty common experience. And the reason is because the two bodies really are distinct. One of the things that I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure JP will have a comment on this, is the sense that, on the House side, when you stand on the floor, if you don't have a stopwatch in front of you on your iPhone or somewhere, you're kind of in trouble right off. And so not to take advantage of that, I think brevity when you're actually in the communications mode, whether it's on the House or Senate floor or in the hallway, brevity is good. But there is an opportunity, I think, on the Senate side to be a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more comprehensive. And I believe there's a bit more of give and take, which I think is material to many of these issues, as JP was just mentioning, taxation. And there's so many issues that are massively complex, and trying to distill them down into a 5-minute presentation of some sort, or to discuss a complicated, water compact, water quality issues, criminal justice, energy. These are things that are difficult to talk about. And so I'm looking forward to a little bit more of a robust platform to actually get more into the meat of issues, so we can, I think, find better solutions. That would be my hope.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you. So what are the two of you working on right now before the session starts? Like, are you preparing bills, doing, like, having meetings? Like, I assume committee meetings haven't started yet, but like what goes on between now and the start of the session for the two of you?
A lot of preparation work is taking place right now. Almost every elected official right now is working on bills for the session. And this session will be particularly difficult, in my opinion, just because there are a lot of ideas that have been brought forward and defeated in past sessions. There are a lot more freshmen in the House. I think it's some 40 plus new members in the House. So as Chris was just mentioning, the House is, how shall we say, vibrant? Read chaotic, right? It can be really chaotic, and it's just a lot of people. just consider that if you have a bill in the House, there's a 30-minute limit for floor debate. And if you have 100 people who want to weigh in, it's not going to work. So if you have, let's say, 10 people that want to weigh in, that's 3 minutes each. Well, you are timed in the House, which helps. But really, it's just managing a crowd, which the Senate does not largely need to do. And just to revisit one of Chris's points, the House and Senate are distinct from each other in a pretty fundamental way with the way bills are introduced. All money-related bills must begin in the House. And that, just so everyone knows, that is pretty typical in legislatures across the country and in Congress. That is just the body that considers the money bills, which gives the Senate the opportunity to really tackle some hard policy ideas. That is not to say that the policy ideas won't cost something in the form of programs or need funding, but certainly we have more opportunity to discuss bigger policy ideas because the House is just trying to fit the budget together and make all of the columns balance, right? So that's one of the big changes. Another thing that's happening right now is that the Governor Bullock, our outgoing termed out governor, has proposed a budget, and the incoming Governor-elect Gianforte is revising that budget. And so that preparation is happening now, and it is a short window. Election day was November 3rd. We called to order January 4th. And oh, by the way, there are 3 holidays in between. So it's a bit crazy. This session really presents a 1 in 100 years dilemma for us with the coronavirus pandemic. 1918, it was the Spanish flu pandemic, but this is COVID for us. And so there's also preparation to try to persuade the majority party to conduct the session remotely, completely virtually. That is the recommendation of our public health officials. We are doing our level best to try to shape rules so that all members can participate remotely, so that staff can participate remotely. We dedicate our lives to this work. It is all consuming, but there is no reason for anyone to risk their life to do this work. So my sincere hope is that we proceed as the Constitution requires. We call to order on January 4th, and we can do that just as we're holding this meeting. Yeah. We could call to order. I could raise my right hand and take my oath as I always have done and not imperil anyone else to do it. I'm a member of leadership, and so part of our negotiations are about conducting the session. It's about committee assignments. It's about things like bill introduction. The Senate, welcome, Chris. The Senate is the only body. These do not go to the House. The Senate confirms appointments by the governor to agency directorships. So I'm keeping a keen eye on who might be named as an agency director. There's a lot of stuff in the works right now.
Yes. So you're not bored, in other words.
No, God, no. If I could just get a solid 4 hours of sleep, that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So Chris, are there any bills that you're working on right now that that you want to talk about?
I have somewhere around 30 bill draft ideas, which is a lot, and which will not see the light of day, all of them. And some of them are driven completely by, the city of Bozeman's priority list on important things to do. The idea of reducing property tax burdens on our citizens, for starters. The idea of addressing affordable housing in a material way. And for me, it's going to be a difficult conversation about how to get the private sector incentivized to jump in and build some really terrific quality workforce housing and low income housing in our and then we have a host of energy bills coming, which is one of my strong interests. Again, based on city priorities, providing essentially consumer choice on where you source your electricity for those of us who would like to see green energy be more widely used, produced and used in the state of Montana. Electric vehicles is another area. I just got off a 2-hour Zoom on electric vehicles. And there's a whole host of energy type subjects that, I'm interested personally in pursuing. I think Senator Pomnichowski was very graceful in the way she presented this, but we are a minority. Is it 18 or 19 out of 50?
19.
JP, what is this? 19. Okay, and so
19 powerful,
you
strong
can do the
Democratic senators.
yes,
Yeah.
resourceful. Yeah, we have bells on, but we're going to have to go find 6. We have to go find 6 or 7 people every single time, and to get stuff done, and we'll do that. But there is a sense this time with the governorship being in a different vein. In the old days, Governor Bullock had the power to veto stuff that wasn't going to pass muster for him. We don't have that anymore, and I think all of us are going in, hopefully pretty sober, practical.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to have to tailor our strategic objectives to what we think, there are going to be sideboards. And we need to understand, it's a balancing act between all the reasons why we have been elected and why we're passionate about doing what we do for public service, and how do we actually get something accomplished?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's that? And it's still parts of this, or maybe large parts of this, are still somewhat mysterious, to be quite honest. So I've got a whole ton of different bills that I'm excited about. Many of them are going to be. I'm going to be bringing a bill for kids with disabilities when they're high school students having 2 more years to get their diploma. We passed that out of the House 86-13. We just hit a home run out of the House in 2019, and it didn't get out of the Senate committee. That was the afternoon when I said, okay, well, I'm going to run for the Senate. We're going to get that done. And at this point, I think we've got now a whole coalition of legislators ready to do the work. So there's an awful lot of work to be done. There are practicalities. The COVID piece is certainly a layer that we don't need, but we have to honor that. As Senator Pomnichowski said, I'm standing right next to her on the idea that, I'm not going to put legislative staff and the public and ourselves at risk in order to do this. We can do this the way we're sitting here. It's not perfect, but until we get some comfort that the public's health is solid, safe, and sound, we're going to be doing an awful lot of electronic communicating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. And that does lead me to my final 2 questions, which we can kind of talk about together. But, when is the decision going to be made about how the session is held? And do we as constituents have any way to convey what we would like to see happen? And then is there anything else that we can do right now in preparing for the session as constituents? Is there any resources that we should be reading or watching, or just generally getting comfortable with how the session the rules are, that kind of stuff? So if you could speak to that, that would be amazing.
The format and structure of the session will be decided this coming Monday and Tuesday. the rules committees will meet. And so so joint rules apply to both chambers. And then the House and Senate both have their own rules, largely because of the structure of committees and some of the responsibilities there. And some differences between the way floor session is conducted in the House and the Senate. But largely, in joint rules, we would like to establish that all members may participate remotely. The public and lobbyists may participate remotely. Staff may participate remotely. Since March, since the pandemic began, Legislative Council, which is made up of leaders of both parties from both chambers and on which I have served, has worked to put into place policies and procedures that can allow for a virtual session. We have installed remote voting software. We have expanded our Zoom licenses. We have expanded our video streams on the legislative website from 4 to 16, so that all meetings that might be happening at once can be video streamed. The website also can take public comment at any time, and I implore you, if this is posted before the Rules Committee on Monday and Tuesday, December 7th and 8th, please everyone, if you are willing, you can get onto the legislative website, leg.mt.gov. It should be fairly obvious where the Rules Committee link is. And you can always submit public comment, always. There's also contact information at the bottom of that page if you don't find the link, but contact Legislative Services and they will get the comment to us. Your support for a responsibly held, virtual, or delayed legislative session is vitally important. There is just no reason for anyone to risk their very lives to testify on a bill or to introduce a bill or to serve as a member of a committee to hear a bill. There's just no reason to do it. During the session or before the session, there's a lot that people can do. I looked at the legislative website and was able to, it's a bit of a process to get there, and I can describe it later if you wish, but we already know that there are bill drafts in by our Republican compatriots for some of the bills that have been vetoed for the past 16 years by Democratic governors. There are bill drafts already in to retry these ideas. There are a lot of bill drafts in for proposals to limit people's civil rights, to limit women's rights, to curtail any abortion whatsoever, against LGBTQ equality, against labor, against public education dollars, allowing those to go to a private institution. Same thing with public lands to be privatized and sold. We don't get those back ever, right? So I would just ask people, for the things that are important to you, you can always reach out to your elected official. You can also find every legislator incoming, the contact information on the website. And there has been in previous sessions, I don't know if it's active yet, but a way to send a message to everyone on a certain committee. And I believe to send a message to every legislator. If not that, everyone is listed with his or her contact information, address, email, phone. Reach out. We are your representatives, right? We weren't elected to just exercise our own opinions. That's not how this works. So everyone, you have far more power than you are exercising. Please take the opportunity to reach out and tell us what you think.
Awesome. Thank you. We will do that. And I'll make sure that this is shared before the 7th, and we'll push people to submit comment, because I, for one, would like all of you to be healthy. I would like to be able to submit comment safely, and for all of our lobbyists and advocates to do the same, and the staff especially. That's been brought up also by Representative Hamilton in my last conversation about the risk that we're putting staffers in if you have everything held in person. And you shouldn't have to decide between your job and your health. It should never should be the case. Well, thank you both so much. Is there any other last thoughts that either of you have about what's coming, or what maybe what you're excited about? Maybe we need to end on a more positive note, like what you're excited about, if anything. Chris?
Well, I'm excited to get going. I mean, we've all been working this for the better part of a year. And Allison, hats off to you and your office and the support team that you have brought to help us be able to serve the public. And you know, just because we have COVID and just because we have a big change of administration doesn't diminish both the very exciting opportunities that are in front of us and also the challenges. And we have to maintain our vigilance, and we will be there standing tall. But we're also going to have to be smart about it. But I'm just excited to get going.
Excellent. Good. I'm excited too. I'm so ready for this. How about you, JP? Any final thoughts?
Well, there's a rare opportunity this session that hasn't existed in previous sessions, and that is that Senator-elect Pope will be serving with me. So
there we go.
That.
That's right.
we did serve together in the House also, but
that's right.
Yeah, we will be figuratively, I hope not literally, but figuratively shoulder to shoulder this session.
That's right. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, we know that Gallatin County is in good hands with the two of you and our other elected Democrats. Thank you both for serving. Thank you for stepping up, and thank you for sharing your time today. I know it's appreciated by a lot of people, not just me, but I definitely appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
All right.
Thanks for the invite.